What do I think about dating after 50 or 60 years old? And when they say dating, I don't know if they meant going out together to fun places such as dinner or the movies, or if they meant dating as in a synonym for a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or if they meant both. But either way, I'm going to cover both of them. And I think it's great. But before I really get into it, I'm going to go back several years back before I married, back when I was dating and had boyfriends. I didn't see it back then, but now I look back and I see it all crystal clear. I see the boyfriends I had that were the good people and the ones I had that were pond scum or narcissists or psychopaths. So we'll just call them pond scums. When I look back, I see the good ones so clearly. I'm sure those are the ones who ended up in a happy, healthy relationship. They did good with their finances. They might not be a millionaire, they might not own their own business, but whatever they did, they were successful and they're happy. And then the pond scums, I'm sure they are not happy. They either never married or else if they did marry, they were not happy. And the reason I say that is because those type of people don't know how to build healthy relationships. They're never going to be happy. And I'm sure they were never successful at their job. And I don't say any of this with judgment. It's just looking back, I realize there are different types of people. The ones who know how to build healthy relationships and be successful in life, and those that don't. And when I look back, the ones who treated me good, the ones that treated me like a princess, those were the ones who I'm sure ended up successful in life because they knew about relationships. They knew how to build good relationships. Now, the pond scums, those are the ones they called themselves my boyfriend, and I was their girlfriend, but we never dated. They never took me out anywhere. They never took me out to dinner or to the movies. We never took a walk. We never spent quality time together like that. But yet they called themselves my boyfriend. They're the ones that they wanted my money. They were just using me. They always wanted me to buy the pizza. They never bought the pizza. I even had one boyfriend. He wanted me to buy his you know what. So I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word, but not counting the S on the end, it's a four-letter word. It starts with a D and it ends in a G. And I was appalled. I didn't even know he did those. But he wanted me to buy them for him, and he made the same amount of money I did. And I wouldn't buy them for him, and he broke up with me. So, those are the kind of pond scum boyfriends that I had, but I also had some good ones. Now, the best date I ever went on in my life, this one guy took me out. We went to I guess you call it a pub, where you sit there and you can drink, or we just drank Cokes and ate crackers. And you can put quarters in the jukebox. I don't know if they even have jukeboxes nowadays. I haven't been to a pub in so long. But we just sat there and talked, and it was so relaxing and so fun. And if I had high blood pressure before, I sure didn't after I was on that date. It was so relaxing. It was that relaxing and that fun. And we sat there for a long time. I don't know how long we were there. and just talked. It was so fun. And then when we left, I thought the date was over with, and I would have been okay if it had been, but it wasn't over with. He took me out to a Mexican restaurant after that. And so that's the best date I ever had in my life. And I never got a second date with him, so either he didn't like me or maybe he was just playing the field and wanted to date others. I don't know. But all I know is I do have that one good date as a memory, and I will be forever thankful to him, forever grateful for that experience of that fun date. And back then, where I was at, people had no excuse because even if you didn't have a car, there were places within walking distance that were reasonable that you could go to. And even if you didn't have much money, you could, if nothing else, take a walk with the girl that you were trying to court. But I loved going out on dates. And the boyfriends I had that didn't take me out on dates, those were the ones that I wish they would have, but they never did. And like I said, now that I look back, now I understand those were the pond scums. They didn't take the girls out on dates. So yeah, I had a variety of boyfriends. And so now I look back and see how it was. Even back then, I loved going out on dates. And I still love going out on dates. Now, I haven't really been on a date lately, just with my kids, and grandkids. But back to the question, what do I think about people dating after 50 or 60 years old? I think it's the greatest thing in the world. And even married couples should date. Now, I'm not telling you how to live your life. If you have a successful, happy marriage and you never date, then more power to you. I'm just saying how I feel about it. I think dates are fun. I think that's why a lot of people are so cranky because they never go out on a date. But yes, I do think it's wonderful. Let's say there's two people that are past 50 or 60 years old. Let's say both of them had been married and both of them's spouse died. And then them two get together and they have a happy relationship. Yes, they need to go out on dates. They need to go out to dinner. They need to, well, if they want to go to the movies. Now, the movies is not my favorite because I don't like movies. Plus, you can't sit there and talk and get to know each other during a movie. But they're good too. They're better than nothing. Or you can just walk or go to a coffee shop or a cookie shop or an ice cream shop and just sit there and talk. Or go to a pub and just sit there and talk. So yes, I love dating. And then another scenario would be, let's say there's two people who are after 50 or 60, they're over 50 or 60, and let's say they're both divorced. Let's say both of them accidentally married a pond scum person, and so they got out of that bad marriage, and now they're over 50 or 60. They deserve a good marriage now. They deserve a good courtship. So yes, by all means, go on a date. Have fun. Like I said before, I think that's why so many people are so cranky because they never go out on dates. They don't have any fun in their life. Maybe they don't have time to go out because they're working so hard. Maybe they don't have the money to go out. Well, maybe you can take a little bit of time out of your busy day and go out on a date. If you don't have much money, maybe you can take a walk in the park or do something that doesn't cost much money. But yes, that's what I think about dating over 50 or 60. I think nobody is too old for a date. It's never too late to have fun. People need more fun in their life, more play in their life. We work hard all our lives. Yes, we need some fun. We need some play. We need some dates. So, yes, it is okay to date after 50 or 60 years old. So, that was a long answer. So, now I'm going to get on with the next question. What scripture, quote, or saying has helped you when times are tough? There was a couple of years ago, there was a prophetess. She was a pastor, and yes, I do believe in lady preachers. She was a pastor, and she said that God told her to tell me that He wanted me to have joy, joy, joy. And I needed that, and I still need that. And I mean, we've all been through hard times, and we all need joy. And when you hear it coming from God directly, that's giving yourself permission to have joy, joy, joy. And so, yes, we need to choose joy. We need to choose positivity and know that God wants us to have it. What is your favorite childhood memory of your family? I don't have a favorite childhood memory of the whole family, but the favorite childhood memory that I have is back when I was about 9 years old. My parents sent us to a Bible camp. I'm sure it was just to get rid of us because they weren't Christians. They didn't go to church or anything. So obviously they let people in that Bible camp that didn't go to the church. But we got sent away to a Bible camp for about a week, and it was so fun. I really enjoyed it. And I remember they taught me one thing that I remember, and I still go by this today. They told us that Christians never say goodbye. They never say bye. They'll say see you later, but they don't say bye. So I'm still that way to this day. And I tell my kids, when I die, don't you tell me bye. You can say see you later, but nobody is to tell me bye. And I never tell anybody bye. I say see you later. Is there a skill or hobby that you tried to get into and didn't enjoy? Yes, that would be crocheting. Back when I was young, back before I really knew who I really was, I saw other people crochet and I thought, let me see if I can do that. And I tried it. I didn't like it. I do not enjoy working with my hands. I'm not a crafty person. I'd rather be reading a book. So yeah, I tried to crochet. I was not successful. So yeah, you can keep your crochet and just let me read my book. What advice do you have for helping to escape overconsumption and living a simpler life? My advice would be think of your house or your apartment as a storybook. When you look at a storybook, it's usually perfect. You don't see excess stuff. Everything is just in its place and it's perfect. So pretend like it's a storybook. And so you don't want to buy extra stuff because where are you going to put it in this storybook picture? Or you can pretend like it's the model home or the model apartment. Where are you going to put all the stuff in the model apartment or the model home? So don't buy it because there's nowhere to put it. You've got a storybook home. You've got the model home. What would you say is missing from most people's lives these days? That is about as easy as can be. I know that answer. It's love. If we loved, we wouldn't have the problems that we have. People would love each other and get along. Nobody would be stealing from anybody or cheating anybody or bullying anybody. So, yes, love is what's missing. And God is love. And I know some people may not believe in Him, but even if you don't believe in Him, you should still, looks like you still would understand that if someone has love in them, it makes it so much easier. And yeah, God is love. Jesus is love. And Jesus wasn't kidding when he said that he's the bread of life and the living water. Whoever eats or drinks of him will never hunger or thirst again. And that's true because I've been on both sides of it. I've been empty. And I know when people are empty, they do some things that they shouldn't do, trying to fill that emptiness. So, yes, I know what it's like to be empty. I know what it's like to not have love. Like I said, I've been on both sides of it. And now that I've found the side of love, I never want to go back to the other side ever again. I don't want to go back to that emptiness. And it's just a whole different world on the side of love. So yeah, if we had love, there'd be no haters. There'd Everybody would be hard workers and everybody would respect each other, and that's what's missing out of everybody's life. It's just so easy. That was the easiest one, the easiest question, the one that's just so obvious. Do you think young people have it easier or harder than we do? That is kind of hard to compare because when I grew up, when I was a young person, I lived in a different state, way far away, and I lived way out in the country. And then when I raised my kids, I raised them in a state far away and in the city, and there was really no compare. So it's really hard to say, but I will answer it the best I can. I would think that for the most part, I would think that they have it easier than we did for a couple of reasons and a couple of examples. Like, for example, the young people today, they're not pressured to get married really young. There are some young people in this town that are in their 30s, their 40s. That's what they choose. They're unmarried, but they choose it. And they're under no pressure to get married. And another example is in this town, people are allowed to be friends with people of any nationality. They're allowed to date people of any nationality. They're allowed to marry anybody of a different nationality, and nobody thinks anything of it. Back in my hometown, you couldn't do that. You couldn't be friends or date or marry anybody of a different nationality. And now it's like we're all one. We are united. And I love that. And I don't even think anything of it. I don't care what nationality my kids are friends with or who they date or who they marry, and I'm going to be friends with whoever I want to be friends with, and I love that we're all human. And another way it's easier for young people today is back in my day, nobody liked people that had glasses. But nowadays, glasses are fashionable. And so there's so many more freedoms that they have today that we didn't have back then. So um, I would say, yeah, that it's easier today. Now, I know there's certain ways we had it easier, but it's there's a lot of ways that they have it easier. So I think for the most part, I would say that it's easier. But I don't want to go back and redo it. I'm finished with my youth and my high school days. No, I don't want to redo it. My high school days were hard because of all the restrictions that we had. And like I said, nowadays they have so many more freedoms. But anyway, that's enough of that. Have you ever had to cut a family member out of your life? If so, why? Oh, yes, a lot of them. I've got a bunch of narcissists in my family that don't know how to love, and I just can't live with that. Now, the ones who love and treat me good, I'm still speaking to them. Where would you go on vacation if all expenses were paid? Back home. I would love to do that and have all expenses paid. And there's plenty of people to see, plenty of friends. There's museums in the surrounding towns. There's a zoo, and there's a lot of things in the surrounding towns. I would never get bored. I could be there for a couple of months and not get bored. Favorite book. Of course, I have a lot of favorite books, so I'm only gonna talk about two of them. One of them is The Case for Christ by Lee Strobel. That is written by a former atheist who set out to prove that Jesus did not exist, and when he tried to prove it, he proved himself wrong. He found out all this evidence that proved that Jesus did exist, archaeological evidence, physical evidence, mental evidence, emotional evidence, and that book is just amazing. And another book that I will mention is, I know you've heard it many times, Discover Your God-Given Gifts by Don and Katie Fortune. I love that book. And it is a book that the authors, Don and Katie Fortune, they took the gifts that are mentioned in Romans 12, and over a long span of time, they studied people in different countries and studied people with each of these gifts and realized they have different personality traits. The person with this gift, all the people with this gift have these personality traits. The people with this gift have these personality traits, and so on and so forth. And there's 7 of the gifts, and it made me appreciate people better. That's why this person is this way, and that's why this person is this way. That's their God-given gift. God made them that way. And so, yes, I love that book. It makes you appreciate people and makes you understand them, understand why they are the way they are. Let them be the way they are. That's the way God made them. What is a good way to get motivated? To clean, work, exercise, etc. I have to make a game out of everything. I don't really like to do certain cleaning jobs. I mean, I like to clean to an extent, but certain other things I don't like to do. So I have to make a game out of it, and I have to divide it up into sizable pieces. So it tricks my brain into thinking I'm doing something smaller. So that's how I do it. I'll divide it up into smaller pieces, and maybe I'll give myself a reward after I finish a certain piece. Do you have any low cost ideas for rewarding and pampering yourself? Yes, I have 2 main ways. One is you can go to Dollar Tree and get a bath fizzy, or if you have some Epsom salt or whatever you have, bubble bath or anything, put it in a pan of water and soak your feet and read a book. And then another way is just take a walk out in nature. Nature's free and it's soothing.